touch, 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 touch. Not gonna lie, that has been stuck in my head. It has. It really has. I don't know if you guys have seen on Netflix, I think it's Pop Star. It's a documentary. It is called The Cat's Eye is like the name of the group. I really am enjoying it. I really am enjoying the documentary because I haven't seen one quite like that in some time. I think the last time I probably watched a like competition-esque show for performers and stuff like that was Dance Moms. We all know how that went. We know what that was like, and I think for the girls as well. And so what was really interesting about this to me and why I liked it so much, like I binged it in a day pretty much. If you did not know, when I was younger, I was very much into like singing. I was always interested in dance, but I never allowed myself to explore that really, to be honest with you. And we'll get more into that stuff a little later, because this is all on theme. I'm telling you, just follow me, stay with me. We're all on topic still today. You basically, okay, so it starts with this like audition process, and they tell you that like, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but they tell you that they're looking for the world's next biggest like girl group. An entertainment label here in America collaborated with like one of Korea's top agencies to find this girl group globally. Like it's like they're looking for everybody. They're looking for 6 girls essentially, but they want about 20 girls to like go through the process of what they call T&D, which is training and development. And I really appreciated watching the process, if I'm being honest with you, because they were in this process for like 2 years, I think, before they got to like debut essentially, or at least even like be announced to the general public. And so I think it really reignited some of my love, I think, or my lost love for like singing, dancing, performing. That was very big for me as a kid. And I'm watching these like 14, I think there was only one girl that was 14, but it was really kind of like 17 to 20 were the ages of the girls. And they had such a, once they got a call back essentially from an audition tape that they sent in, they would get a call and they were flown out to LA to live in a house with with all the other girls. And they had like a rigorous schedule, like all day training. This is like very typical in Korea. Like you can be auditioned to be a part of one of these programs. If you get in, it's like you're training, like you're constantly training. You don't know when you're going to debut. It's like boarding school for dance. It's literally like a sports camp, an intensive sports camp that could go on for years for performing, like for singing and dancing. And it's just as rigorous of a schedule for both of those things. It was so cool to kind of watch these girls develop from their strengths and weakness, like either like get a signature on their strengths and find how it's like unique to them, and then work on their kind of like challenging areas. It was amazing to watch. And like I'm sure, and I know that they kind of they went through it. Like that is not something easy to do. And it really just reaffirmed and made me, or rather, I appreciate the art of performing even more. It reminded me a lot of, I think, of some of the thoughts or beliefs and limiting beliefs that I had as a child, as a kid who wanted something like this, but didn't go down that route. And some of that was like opportunity. And some of that was opportunity, what my parents could or couldn't do to support that. And then also myself, like what I did and didn't push for, what I did and didn't ask for, what I did and didn't think was possible, right? And then some of it is just lack of awareness and knowledge in general. And I'm at a stage now at turning 26, and I don't know when this is going to air, but today is August 25th. My birthday is in 5 days. That's absurd. That is crazy. And I'm turning 26 years old. And I'm not going to lie, the documentary brought up a lot of feelings and emotions for me. It did. It was really, it was crazy. Like from the first episode to the end of the series, I just went through a crazy amount of emotion, I think, in that short period of time. I actually finished the last 20 minutes of it the next day because I stayed up way too late watching it. Because I'm not gonna lie, your girl was spiraling a little bit. Not just because of the documentary, but I think what we're gonna talk about in this episode, this was the hardest summer of my life to date. I was not okay this summer. I'm talking like, called my mom like crying because I'm like, I don't know what is wrong with me. I cannot tell you last time I did anything near like that. So to get to that point was just like, whoa. And I think overall I experienced a little bit of an ego death. I just hit the mic, my bad. I experienced a little bit of an ego death. A little bit. I did. I experienced ego death, which, if you don't know, is essentially the loss of your subjective identity, how you see yourself, right? Like that subjective way of understanding you and yourself, and losing that identity, like losing it completely. So it was like, who am I? What am I doing? Where am I going? That is why you have not gotten an episode in quite some time. It just wouldn't have been authentic. It wouldn't have been me, right? Because I didn't even know. Well, I was like, what is me? What is me? What is I? Who is what? Like, it was really rough. It was really rough. And so what's interesting is that this documentary it was kind of, I think I needed to watch it when I watched it, because there were things that came up for me that were like some negative emotions, right? There was even some negative self-talk that ended up coming up. I'm kind of grateful for it, and that I was able to kind of really sit with it and analyze it during the next like 48 hours after kind of experiencing it. And it is rough. It's rough. I think what was going on for me is that I was watching these girls, like, I mean, really go for it. Really go for it. Some of them had extensive backgrounds in dance with no singing abilities. Some of them had backgrounds in both. Some of them never danced a day in their lives, and they were doing it though. Like, they were giving it all, their all. Getting up at 6 a.m., doing the thing, not going to bed until super late, getting up, doing it all over again. And so I think was kicking myself a little bit. Like, I think as a 26-year-old now, all I've ever known is school, really. I think that's something that I've been coming to terms with. That's been hard because I've gone through K through, what year are we now? We got K through 12. Undergrad is like 4 years. So that's 16 years of school. And I'm in my fourth year of grad school. I'm starting my fourth year of grad school, only completed 3. So I've completed 19, oh my God, 19 years of school straight. Straight. I have not taken a gap year ever. I took 1 semester off after I graduated high school, and then started college in that January after high school. So it's been hitting me recently that I only know this life. And at this point in grad school, I am not happy in this life. And I still feel strongly about the path that I've chosen, in the sense that psychology is important. I think therapy is important. However, I think that I am going down a path that is not congruent with what the field of psychology and clinical psychology is. And that's hard, because I have been what feels like I have been waiting to start my life, right? Which, that's a limiting belief in itself. Like, that's not fully true. That's just what it feels like for me, to essentially have two-ish years left and not really know what I want to do after anymore, because I know it does not look exactly like how they've been training us for it to look, and the limitations and boundaries and restraints that have been like shackled onto us in this program, and what we can explore, what we can do, and how we can develop. So I think there's been like, I feel entrapped in my professional development. And that's all my life is right now is my professional development and career. And, you see me like I'm doing vlogs again. Like I've done it throughout the years, and or this podcast that I launched last October. And clearly there are other things calling me. I am called to do other things, and I feel a little lost in that. So I don't really know. It's a scary place to be. But I think I'm trying my hardest to feel safe in the uncertainty. I'm trying my damnedest to feel safe in the uncertainty, right? And so I think this documentary brought up those feelings very strongly and intensely for me, because I'm like, what the hell? Like if you looked at my vision board, actually something that came up for me this summer as I kind of like my whole sense of self broke down and my whole being broke down, something that I was called to had to do with like music, writing, lyrics, singing, something of the sort. And vlogging, YouTube, that type of stuff. Those are the things that started to feel good. Like I was watching YouTube videos again for the first time in a long time. I was watching other vloggers, and it just felt so comforting to me. And that's something that I did as a younger version of myself. So I definitely have a lot of inner child work to do and still do, because I'm noticing that the things that being called to during this time of like reconstruction and rebuilding is things that I have not seriously sat in and with and enjoyed since I was in high school and younger. So, with all of that being said, I really like the documentary. I think you should watch it. It was incredible to watch these girls do it. And another thing, it reminded me of how fucked social media is. Can I tell you that? And TV and media and entertainment in general. Because I'm not going to lie to you, watching the behind the scenes of the documentary and watching every single one of those girls go through it, there was not one of them where I was like, I can't fucking stand her, right? I think I had my judgments and about a few girls, but after watching their whole journey, I was just like, wow. And they talk about some of the comments once they were kind of released to the public, the comments that people were leaving, the TikToks people were making about them. First of all, I live under a rock, because what the hell? This happened last year, 2 years, a year or two ago, where they were able to go public and people were voting on eliminating some of them or not, like the public. And people were making full on TikToks about this. I'm like, how did I not know about this? But I guess I'm not in the K-pop world, because I think this was a heavily geared K-pop-esque thing. Because again, like an American's record company teamed up with like the biggest K-pop company to do this. So maybe that's why I never saw it on my feed ever. But to see the comments that were being made about these girls was kind of crazy, like to watch it in the documentary, because I was like, wow, you guys don't know them. You guys are saying like some really fucked up shit. You don't know them. And so that was another reality check where I was just like, man, we really have to be better. We have to recognize our projections and the way that we judge others through things that come from within ourselves, because that's all judgment is. Judgment is 110%. There's something within ourselves that is creating the judgment. Like we're judging ourselves through judging others. And I don't think people fully understand that. There's a lot of projection that goes on in the world. None of us are free of it. Like we are all susceptible to it. We all do it. I do it. I probably do it more frequently than than I would think at this phase of my life, with all the things that I talk about, right? Like kind of what my channel is about or what this podcast is about. I probably do it quite often, actually, because I think the closer and the more I'm working internally and with my shadow and things like that, the more of it is coming out. When you start shadow work, guys, like that's something else I started this summer. When you start shadow work and inner child work, it's going to bring things out of you. It's not easy. Like they say it's hard for a reason, because the second you start touching it, it's like, oh, you're looking for me? Okay, hey, how's it going? Like it comes on full force whenever it wants, however it feels like doing, wherever, whenever. Like that's really just what it is. So that's something else that I took away from. So it was a lot. Like I know it's probably, some of you are probably going to be like, bitch, this was a documentary on a girl group. What are you talking about? It really was more than that for me. Like it really hit me different, and I might be going way too deep and talking way too much about this, but it was just a perfect example of like, it was just a mirror for me. That's really what it was. It was like a mirror for me. I had a lot to think about. So this episode was supposed to be about something completely different. So now I'm just like, I'm kind of all over the place, but that's okay. That is okay. I'm just going to let myself do this, and we're going to get through this episode together, and we'll see where it takes us. Some other things that were coming up for me were, I think I felt some shame, maybe not shame, but disappointment. Disappointment. That's another word that has been something that I have a hard time admitting to myself. I have a lot of disappointment, I think, right? I think that's a word that finally came out of me this summer. And it's not just disappointment for myself. Like I'm not just disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed in my program. I'm disappointed in the world right now. I'm just that is the theme. The theme is disappointment. And it doesn't help when I feel like the clock is ticking. Like I know I'm young. Like I know 26 is young. And I think that there are things that I would do differently if I could go back. And I think that this documentary like amplified that for me. Like it definitely shed a light on it. And disappointment is, I think, a hard emotion to reconcile with, or rather, I think it's a hard emotion to identify. I feel like I don't hear it often. Like even in my clients, some of my therapy clients, there are these themes of disappointment that come up, but it's never named. Like it's never quite said that way or understood that way until it's brought up and brought to the space. And then people are like, there's usually an emotional reaction, I think, too, sometimes in recognizing disappointment for the first time as kind of the emotion that you're feeling. And it's hard. It's a first step into letting go, I think, also, right? Because when you're disappointed, it's kind of just like, okay, now you've at least recognized that there is a reality here that is not quite the reality maybe that you were hoping or looking for, or that you identified and attached to so strongly. And so once you're able to name disappointment, though, I think you can start to let go, move on, and heal. It's just hard. Like you might have to sit in that for a while. And I think I'm still sitting in disappointment. Even in this, it's funny, even in this documentary, like watching it, I think I'm just like, wow, like what was I doing 5 years ago, right? Like why wasn't I like in taking the opportunity to invest in some of the things that I was more passionate about? And I remember being graduating high school, right? And I think I don't know when like following and pursuing music, songs, performing, excuse me, when I no longer thought that was possible. And I don't even think it was that to me. I actually think that there was a point in time where I thought I didn't want it anymore. Like I was like, no, that's not for me actually, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm cool with that. Because now I actually don't feel that way. And so I don't know if I was masking back then or if I was just living life, right? Because I think that there was that time that I kind of came to that I'm okay. Like I don't think that's for me. You know, like I don't think it wasn't that I didn't believe in I mean maybe it was. Actually, let me not lie, because it could have been that. It really could have. But it just didn't feel right. Like I felt good pursuing psychology once I graduated high school. Like I felt very excited about it and just didn't think I didn't resonate with music as much. But I also sit and think about I never really gave myself the chance to feel fully invested in it as I got older because that dreaming mind of and the fantasizing. I was a deep fantasizer, man. Like woof, I'm like those were my earliest signs of escapism, man, because I was a fantasizer. And so I kind of just let all that go and never invested in myself or gave the chance to that to even train. Like it was even to the point where when I was younger, I didn't even realize like that all of these things can be taught. Like you don't have to just be a natural born this. You don't have to be a natural born that. And for some reason, I felt like that's all that was ever in my face was, oh, it's either you have it or you don't. These natural born things. Those were messages that I felt like I was receiving. And not necessarily from my parents or anything like that, but in media, in television. I also think, like once TikTok dropped, like social media changed forever. Yes, there was Instagram and Snapchat and all that stuff and Facebook, right? When I was coming up, but TikTok gave people a platform to express themselves and try things new and really put themselves out there and build this different type of muscle, I think, for some, not for all. There's definitely their downsides for sure. But we're not talking about it today because we'll be here forever. But I just think that I wonder if like that existed when I was younger. Would I have taken advantage of it? Would I have learned? I've learned a lot from TikTok, y'all. As a 25 turning 26-year-old, in the last 2 years alone, TikTok has taught me a lot of valuable things about myself and or things to do, like hacks. Just I've learned so much. And so I just wonder if I would have got the information I needed then. But I shouldn't say that because I have everything I need now. I like that's a whole nother thing. But I'm just telling you what I'm going through. This is where I'm at right now. These are the thoughts right now. Good, bad, indifferent, right, wrong, or indifferent. Like these are kind of some of the themes and where my mind has been. And I know that it's important to be present and I know the practices and the thoughts, but sometimes, man, you gotta sit with it and sit in it and really think about where it came from, where it first started. That was a whole nother thing kind of in doing some of the shadow work that I've had. I'm just like, wow, like even the way that like I feel about my body, like when I really sat down and thought like, who told you that? Like who made you feel that way about your body? Like when I really think about it, like majority of my negative thoughts did not start with me. It really didn't. I think my biggest struggle in life right now, and also why you guys have not seen me like this in a long time or here in this format, is because I think my biggest battle is taking risk and allowing myself to fail, mess up, be imperfect. Just do things. Just do it. Who cares? Stop thinking about the how. Stop thinking about the how. Just worry about the what you want, what I want, where I want to go. Be super true and authentic in that and fucking go for it. That is, and I think that's why I'm feeling the fear, the pressure of time like on my back, because that's what I'm struggling with right now. You know, that is where my I think those two kind of go hand in hand. Is just like I'm stuck. I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm scared to make moves. I'm scared to make a move on anything. And so I feel stuck. And when I feel stuck, as my age climbs, I feel like I'm not giving myself the life that I could live or that I am deserving of. And there's really something about being stuck in to the point where you actually don't really know what you want, you know? And that's the funny thing about an ego death because it was a breakdown of my subjective sense of self, a complete loss of that, what I thought who I thought I was. And what was really hard in the beginning was like, I don't know what I want anymore. Like, I don't want anything anymore, you know? There was some dark days. There were some dark days. Uh but here, I'm here. I am here. I am present, and I'm happy to be back here. I this is very different, I think, than any episode I have ever done before. I think I've come out with some really cool episodes, some really dope episodes. And this is a new book. We're starting a new book here. This is not the same. This is not going to be the same as it ever was. I am not going to be the same as I was. And so with that being said, I really hope that you guys resonate with some of this, that this touches you, that you can, share some of your vulnerabilities and where you are, because I think this is I want this to be a little bit more informal. I kind of just want to show up and see what comes out. I get caught in these traps of planning. And again, like I need to practice imperfection. Doesn't that sound crazy? It don't sound crazy. That's how it needs to be. But in this world, that probably sounds crazy. But I need to practice imperfection. I do. I have to practice imperfection. So I'm going to show up here very authentically me, with probably not much planned, right? I actually had like a little bit of like random thoughts that I had typed up in a Google Doc, just random thoughts, like no, not a full on sentence, nothing like that. Like literally there was just like a list of one word sometimes. I didn't even look at that. I did not look at that today. I thought I was going to, and I didn't. I sat down and talked about something that's been on my mind, and it might have been a little bit all over the place and messy. And I'll probably see that when I go back to edit this. But I think I need this. I need it to be like this for a while. And I'm excited to see what comes out. I have no idea what I talked about today in this episode. I know I talked about the documentary, but I actually don't really I kind of just was here with you guys and present with you guys. So thank you so much for watching, for waiting. If you have been waiting for me to come back, because I'm here. I really enjoy doing it this way. And I'm hoping that we can grow and learn together, be vulnerable together. Comment down below what the summer was like for you. Like, even if it was the best summer ever, like, please, please. I want to read that energy. I want to feel it too. Or if it was like harder like mine, like, I want to know, like, let me know. 2024 has been a hell of a year. I mean, I don't think I've had more ups and downs in a year ever before. This, and the astrology girlies called it. They clocked it. I don't know if you saw, but on TikTok, they was letting us know back in November what 2024 was going to give. And man, did they hit the nail on the head. Talked about truths and unveilings and unmaskings and people being exposed and things. Not only did I go through that on a personal level, because I didn't even think it was me. I was like, I ain't got nothing to hide. Girl, please. Please. We all got something to hide. Just a little bit. But from the celebrities, I mean, the media. Listen, we're not even going to get into the political climate because I can't even. We're going to breathe. We're going to breathe. Actually, let's do that really quick. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold. Release. One more time. Deep breath in. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am very much looking forward to you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you again soon. I will see you again soon. Bye.